Alrighty, guys. What do we got here on the little mobile bench? The 670 FDV that you guys saw the 36-inch bar vid on. Here's the little bit more hot rodded version of it. That it's still a work saw build, but it's more geared towards funner side of a work saw. And then we got the 8000 P, and I got the dyno results because I've had this one dynoed before. I went to Dyno Joe's the other day and had a whole bunch of saws dynoed, which I'll be putting different videos out on that. It's just I'm gonna cover a couple saws at a time, and this time around we threw a couple saws and sometimes 3 saws in the same graph just to cut down on the amount of printouts that we had to do. This 670, yeah, she shocked me. She put up some big numbers. 7.71 for horsepower. This one put up almost 7 horse. So there's almost a horsepower difference between these two builds. But yet, when it come to pulling long bar, this would be the one I would choose. And this one, it'd be in the pink here. I'll show you that in a second. The CS 8000 surprised me. She put up 8.17. That's a solid runner. That's a work saw build, is what I would call a work saw build as well. I think them things were like 5 horsepower stock, so I got a pretty healthy gain out of that thing. And I'll show you, it put up good torque too. It put up, these are recorded in peak on this particular chart, but it put up 5.51 torque and 8.17 horse on that gray CS 8000. That 800P I did, there was a degree difference in blowdown. The rest of the stuff pretty much was the same. I would think that one's probably in the 8.2, 8.1 range as well. They felt very, very similar. I did think the 800 had a little bit better compression, but you know what I mean. But they did have slightly different muffler mods. I didn't do the muffler mod on this one. That's Joe's muffler mod that he did from the previous big bore that was in that. But here's the numbers for the 670, 7.71 and 4.72 for peak, and that's in the pink here. And as you can tell, like I said, short blowdown saws do this. They come up, make lots of power, and then they drop off fast. That's just, you know, that saw's got, I think I gave it 18 degrees of blowdown. Does it make it a bad saw? No. Does it make it a good saw? Not necessarily. It's how your cutting style is. Like for cookie cutting and just doing cookie cutting, this saw outspeed cuts this one hands down, straight up. But if you know, when it comes to long bar, I'm going after this one, and I'll show you the power differences. And here's the other 670, and it was the peak horse was 6.85, which still is pretty stout saw, and its peak torque was 4.51. So the peak torques are slightly different, but this saw holds, you know, see how the torque tapers. The work saw holds it's just got a flat torque line for so much longer, and it'll come up, hit hard, and then it pretty much, you know, well, from, I can't read it through the camera there, like this thing's making 6 horse from, let's see here, 10.5, it's making 6.28 horse there, and at 7,000 RPM it's still making 6 horsepower. So that's a really wide band for a good power source. And you know, that's why I said, like, if I was if I was felling trees all the time, I think I would want, especially big bar, I think this would be the saw I would grab. Now, if the saw's on the ground and you're doing the the standard, like butchering that tree up for firewood, this thing's gonna freaking skedoot right through that stuff because you can keep it in its peak power. For felling trees, peakier saws can sometimes be a little difficult, especially for a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of time on getting a good feel for a saw, because obviously if you've got a good feel for your saw, you can always keep it in its optimum cutting range. Peaky saws tend to stall the chain out a little bit easier. Just what I've in my cutting style, that's what I've noticed. I mean, these are both the same cc's. They're both 50 millimeters. Two totally different spectrum builds. And why did I go two different builds? Well, I wanted to show you guys the difference in it. It's fun having a hot rod, and it's fun having a serious grunter. So, which is better? I don't know. I've slayed some firewood with this, and it's still really, really fun to butcher firewood with this as well as this. On the other hand, especially if you start getting into that like 18-inch and down stuff, this thing's a hoot and a half because she's so zippy, and this is just a serious. Both these are serious firewood saws, but this one's just a touch more serious. It's quite a bit, hotter, but what's better? It's up to the cutter's choice. And then, like, when you guys are porting, and especially learning how to port, it's nice to be able to tailor a saw to what you're after. Or if you're doing it for a business, it's nice to be able to tailor a saw to what your customer's after. I'm not a business, so I'm a hobbyist. So I dabble in all sorts of different ways of porting stuff. I would classify this is probably the warmest build on the table, even though it didn't put up as much power as that. But this is 66 cc's, I believe. That's 50 millimeter, and that's 80 cc's. So there is a pretty huge cc difference in class. But these things were slow revving tractors. When I got to test cut that stock 800, oh man, I'm not gonna lie, running one of these stock is a huge disappointment. It's sluggish off the throttle. They're slow to rev, slow to cut. They'll motor through it, but there just wasn't very pleasant to cut with. When I've played with both this and the 800p that I did for Curtis, yeah, totally different saw. They're actually a hoot to cut with. Downsides with this is they're heavy. I don't like the outboard clutch, and I don't like the front fed chain tensioner, and I don't like the chain brake assembly on this. The 800p had a much better chain brake assembly. Other than that, I think they're pretty much the same saws. Little slight differences in the clutches. I do like the fact that it's got automatic oiler, and it's got a boost oiler that you can pump more in there if you want it. That's a very handy feature. But I decided there's a couple other saws that I want really, really bad. So I'm selling this one to my buddy. I already talked to him a little bit about it in Messenger there, and I'm going to be letting that one go to my buddy. It'll be getting served life in a tree service. So that'll be a good home for it, and I'll put some funds towards a different saw that I want really, really, really bad, but it's very hard to get in the States. So I've been reaching out, trying to find someone over in Europe that can hook me up. But so yeah, that's the dyno results. So we got 7.7, we got almost 7 horse, and we got just scooch over 8 horse on these. I will be doing video on some of the other, because I had a lot of saws dynoed, but I'll just put up a video here and there. Hopefully you guys will like it. So I've blabbered on here enough. So I don't know. I don't have no way to inject this unless I have one of my buddies do some editing for me. But I'll probably drop this video, and I'll probably drop a video of just short, you know, because what I did was every saw that got on the dyno, I just kept pause in between the runs. So I got a whole bunch of saws on a fairly short video. I'll probably just drop that video so you guys, if you want to see them run on the dyno, and then I'll talk about them later on in some other videos. So you guys take it easy, have a good one, and enjoy.